Trump's speech to Congress brought Karoline Leavitt to tears, and her life changed forever. Karoline Leavitt stood outside the Capitol building, her breath visible in the cold February air, her hands trembling, not from the chill, but from the weight of the moment. She had been invited to witness President Donald Trump's address to Congress, but she wasn't a politician. She wasn't a lobbyist or a corporate donor. She was a teacher. A daughter. A woman who had fought tooth and nail for her small New Hampshire community, and who carried scars that couldn't be seen. Just 6 months ago, Karoline had almost given up. Teaching at a struggling rural school, watching her students come in hungry, cold, and tired, broke her spirit piece by piece. The funding cuts had hit them hard. Her heart ached every time she watched another brilliant young mind fall behind, not for lack of intelligence, but for lack of support. She'd reached out to senators, state officials, even education boards. Most emails went unanswered. The ones that didn't offered little more than platitudes. But something kept her going. Maybe it was the memory of her father, once a coal miner, now buried with a folded flag on his chest, who had told her, "You fight for people, Karoline. No matter how hard it gets, you show up." And so she did. Day after day. Even when her bank account teetered on empty. Even when she had to skip meals to afford art supplies for her classroom. Even when she cried alone in the school parking lot after watching a student break down from hunger and exhaustion. Now, as she walked through the marbled halls of Congress with quiet awe, she wondered why she had been chosen. Her letter to the White House had been raw, more plea than petition. She had written about the children who walked through snow without coats, the single mothers who packed dry cereal for lunch, the dreams deferred not by laziness, but by poverty. She never expected it to be read, let alone answered. Inside the chamber, Karoline took her seat in the guest balcony, flanked by veterans, small business owners, and parents of fallen soldiers. As the president entered to thunderous applause, she felt like an imposter. What was she doing here? Then President Trump began to speak. He spoke of resilience. Of the forgotten people in forgotten towns. Of teachers who used their own salaries to keep classrooms alive. He spoke of dreams, American dreams, not just of prosperity, but of dignity. And then he said her name. Karoline Leavitt, the president's voice rang out, is a public school teacher from New Hampshire. She has not missed a single day of work in 3 years. She spends her own money to keep her students inspired. She wrote to us, not to ask for help for herself, but for the children she calls her family. Karoline, stand up. The chamber erupted into applause. Karoline froze. Cameras turned to her. People clapped, some stood. She stood slowly, eyes wide, tears welling. Her hands pressed against